Here are 6 films I've talked about the most in 2025. Not a best of list, just ones that stayed in conversations. Because honestly, I struggle with these lists. There are still so many films from 2025 that I haven't seen yet, and I never love pretending I've closed the book on a year, but these are the movies I talked about the most. The ones people brought up to me, the ones that kept the conversation going online or offline. And these films kind of affected me in some way. This isn't about consensus, it's really about observation. So instead of a top 10, I'm going to do 6, because why not? So here are the 6 films from 2025 that I've talked about more than any other. Number 6, Weapons. This is a very divisive movie. People either loved it or they hated it. I'm completely fine with that. For me, it felt genuinely unexpected. There was something about it that pulled people in. Even my 8-year-old daughter wanted to see it because she just genuinely wanted to know what happened to the kids. And what kept me talking wasn't just the story, but it was the layers. And then there was more layers. In the layers that we're trying to explore, and maybe it was too much, maybe it felt boring to some, but maybe it was the tonal shifts didn't work, the comedy sliding something darker and then back again, but it sparked conversation, big conversation, strong reactions, and that's what matters to me. Whether you loved it or hated it, it made you feel something, and that's part of what makes film worth engaging with. And that's kind of the theme of this list, I think. Number 5, Sinners. I'm a huge fan of genre blending when it's done right. A hysterical gangster horror musical, it's not an easy sell. And the fact that it got people into theaters says something. Again, people loved it or hated it. And again, that reaction mattered. And for me, it worked. There was a feeling that you were experiencing something deliberate, something bold. And honestly, I think people who saw it in a theater had a stronger reaction than those who watched it at home. There's something about being in a collective space with sound like that and imagery like that, and watching it at home kind of takes a little bit out of it, at least for me. Number 4. No Other Choice. This one surprised me. I saw it nearly in a nearly sold out theater, which says a lot. People who know his work showed up, and that created a great experience. I mean, it's a foreign language film, and it may not be the most definitive of his work, but even Park Chan-wook, at what some might call a lesser level, is still operating above most releases. And this is one that sparked a lot of conversation, especially considering where we are globally and what the film is reflecting back at us. Visually, the camera work, the editing, the control of tone is incredibly precise. It's dark, it's uncomfortable, and very current. And that's why it stayed with me. And it's why I kept talking about it. Number 3. One Battle After Another. This is probably the most polarizing film on the list. And if you strip away the story and politics for a moment and just look at the technical side of what Paul Thomas Anderson is doing here, it's incredibly difficult. The choreography of the camera, the actors, the extras, the movement, it's not a single moment. It's sustained again and again. And you don't have to care about that. And some people just want the story, and that's fine. But if you work in film, you can't help but ask how they pulled this off. He's made it into a kind of science. Story-wise, it's a lot. It's about extremism, far left, far right, and what gets caught in the middle, what gets inherited, and what gets taught, and where the next generation ends up. People assumed things about my own ideology just because I talked positively about this film, which honestly proved part of the film's point. The reactions to it weren't just as revealing as the movie itself. You don't have to like it, you don't even have to finish it, but technically and thematically, it's one of the films I talked the most about this year. Number 2, Eddington. This one caught me off guard. Going into an Ari Aster film, I know it's going to be complex. I know it's going to pull me in uncomfortable emotional directions, but this one hit differently. It speaks directly to the COVID era, to the mass hysteria, to the fear, to how divided we've become and how much the division still exists now. It feels like a voice from a very recent history, and at the same time, it feels completely current. What really struck me is that it doesn't pull any punches. No ideology is protected. No side is spared. Whatever political identity you carry, it shows up somewhere in the film. It's shocking. It's absurd. It's aggressive and deeply symbolic. Even something as small as a homeless man at the beginning is loaded with metaphor. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I remember seeing it and then going to Los Angeles shortly after, and it became one of the main films we kept talking about. It flew under the radar in theaters, but once it hit streaming, people started reacting. And again, it's polarizing. I love that. And when people hate a movie so much they feel they need to tell you, that tells me it struck something. A lot of movies come and go with no reaction at all. The polarizing ones spark conversation. They hit a nerve. They provoke. And sometimes that's what makes a film truly interesting. All right. Number 1. And this one might surprise you. I could honestly make an argument for any of these 6 being number 1, but this year I'm going to go with emotion, like pure emotion. Hamnet affected me deeply. I saw it alone at Disney Springs, and when the film ended, I didn't rush out. I just walked afterwards. I sat with it. I felt something, but I didn't fully understand how much it had hit me yet. Then the film was released more widely, and I started seeing other people doing the exact same thing I had done. Sitting with it, processing it, talking about it. That mattered. It told me I wasn't alone, that I wasn't being overly emotional, that it was something real. Most of us have experienced grief in some form, some kind of loss, some kind of trauma. And art, for a lot of us, becomes the way we process that. Becomes the bridge. And Hamnet understands that. It shows how art creates connection, how shared experiences can help people work through grief together, whether it's with people you love or people you've never met. And that mattered to me a lot. So, those are the 6 films of 2025, not because they're better than everything else, not because everyone should agree, but because they lived in my conversations. They lived in my circles. And they struck emotion. And for number 1 being Hamnet, emotion won. And I appreciate you going on this film journey with me, and as always, be real.
Our children's hearts beat. They smile, play. Never forget for a moment. They may be gone.